So, 1.2 is fast approaching, we're going to be heading to the outer ring, Bernice is coming out, things are looking good. But before we get there, it's time to look back at the most recent patch, 1.1. New characters, new events, and a brand new story. But how good was it? Let's find out. Whilst 1.1 was the foundation for new features, it still added some interesting elements to the overall experience. New camera options, filters, selfie cam and poses, allowing for more photo opportunities. Quality of life improvements including teleporting straight to the HDD and the logistics post in the Scott Outpost, and trigger modes for chain attacks. Whilst that may not seem like a lot when you look at it, there's so much else added that were small yet needed features that I couldn't even list all of them. And this will continue as patches go on. I mean, the devs care about this game, and the amount of small changes that add to a much smoother experience shows that. That makes doing dailies, farming for things, and just exploring, it just makes it all easier. Now, I've already gone over the undercover R&B story and my thoughts on it, but we need to talk about how good the story is shaping up and how good the future could be. Undercover R&B really had no major flaws in its storytelling. It was simple yet well done. Jane's a spy, a double agent, and she has to try and take down the mountain lions from within, whilst dealing with Seth constantly being like, "You're still a good person," The plot is simple yet effective, and if they just keep this up, then we'll be good. Not everything needs to be a super intricate lore fest like Star Rail can be, so as long as we keep the story strong, they can't really go wrong, except Chapter 1. It's amazing how far we've come from that. Here we go, peeps, the moment you've all been waiting for. What are my thoughts on the 3 new characters, Qingyi, Jane Doe, and Seth? Now, whilst I won't be doing an insert tier here thing for this, because there's one coming soon, trust, I can give my unfiltered thoughts on each of them. She's a goofy character whose whole thing is she's lived more than anyone around here. Her dry sense of humour leads to some really funny bits, and she's overall a great presence when she's on screen. If I didn't have to say for both Jane Doe and Bernice, she might have been a grab for me. Design wise, he still ain't it, but his character really shone through in the 1.1 story. As I mentioned in the story video, he is very tropey, a diligent member of Pubsec who's relatively naive and sees the good in everyone. But there's nothing wrong with him being tropey in a game with a lot of tropes. They can really put him in scenes and stories with the most diabolical people, and he'll have a reason to instigate plot beats. Hey, she won me round, peeps. I was gonna get her because she's good for Bernice, but then I got her because she's just a good character. She knows how to play people. I get the feeling she's some sort of psychologist because she knows how to manipulate people to get her desired effect. People are gonna say she's just fan service, but I say you don't get character writing if that's all you're getting from this. If we're gonna have a character who stops at nothing to get the job done, then she has to be seen doing whatever it takes and playing the game. These characters have me hyped for what Caesar, Bernice, and eventually Lighter will be like in, hopefully, 1.2, so it's safe to say the devs know how to write some good characters. Events are always a touchy subject, I feel. Me personally, I'm not usually a wacky side quest kind of guy. In fact, it's one of my least favourite elements of games like Final Fantasy X, so I'm not necessarily the target audience for these events. I typically just blitz through them, I don't really look at the story, and I just claim the rewards, and honestly 1.1 was no different. Camellia's, no, not that one, Golden Week just wasn't it for me. And I'm sure the people who don't enjoy TVs, it wasn't your cup of tea either. It did give us a solid W engine that I reckon will be somewhat universally decent, and you got quite a few polychromes for it, but it just fell a little bit short on what I was hoping it was going to be. Daily life of a Pubsec Officer was fine. It was an interesting idea, but the dialogue options really made it a smooth ride, and there wasn't really a chance at failing things. I did it in like 15 minutes and got a fair amount of polychromes for it, so I won't complain. Tactical drills. I personally love this one because not only was it a combat focused event, but it also gave you 4 tuning calibrators, which is an insane amount for how easy this event really was. It was a good premise, but with Jane Doe, you really didn't need any of the buffs or to use any of the mechanics that the game was trying to get you to use. And you know, you didn't even need to use the trial characters or even be the level that it recommended for you. The rewards were genuinely incredibly generous for this, and this is what I want to see. Events that are simple, somewhat easy, and give good rewards. Maybe not 4 tuning calibrators all the time, you know, unless they plan on not making them super difficult to obtain, but I won't complain if they do either way. Obviously, I still want harder events over the years, but not everything needs to be have this DPS and you win, or have this character and you win. Just make things simple, man. Just make things simple. The photo event. I forget the name of it, but this was probably the weakest of the 3. Go to a place, talk to a person, take a photo, boom, polychromes. Then it's go to a location, take random photos of things, gain film inspirations, and boom, polychromes. If it wasn't time gated, I would have done it in about 20 minutes. I will say, don't take me mentioning the time it took as me complaining that an event was too short. The less time I have to spend to get rewards is always a good thing. It's just a case of Zenless Zone Zero events not really hooking me in yet, and the longest one, which was Camellia's Golden Week, really didn't win me over. The events were solid, but I really want more combat-oriented events, which there are a few coming in 1.2, I believe, so I'm looking forward to those. Zenless has yet to fully win me over with their events, and it's arguably their weakest element at the moment, for me personally. All in all, as far as 1.1s go, Zenless's is pretty damn good. It knows what it wanted to do, which is to sell Qingyi, sell Jane Doe, really nothing else. This was about selling characters and getting you invested in the lore even more, and they did exactly that. My only issue with this game so far is once you beat the story, you really are spinning your tires for the remainder of time between the story and the next patch. You're either doing events which don't draw me in at the moment and take like at max an hour to complete, or you're grinding your characters, which, you know, if you're like me, that's no problem at all. I think Zenless is finding its balance, and that's completely fine, right? I hope no one expects them to have the formula that will please every player, so, you know, even if it is just a case of me going in to do my dailies and occasionally invest my resources, well, it's still have me playing every day, even if it's only for 3 minutes. I would give 1.1 a solid 4 out of 5. The story was so good that to rate this lower would be a disservice to that, let's be honest. Actually, you know what, before we wrap up, so I said I would give it a 4 out of 5, and at time of recording there have been 4 votes on my poll. I think from now on I'm probably going to be doing polls in the community tab when I'm close to getting my reviews done. And one person said 5 out of 5, which, you know what, completely respectable, but the majority, so 75%, did also rate it a 4 out of 5, which I think is a fair comparison. But for those of you that didn't vote in the poll, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think a 4 out of 5 is fair? Do you think it was great? Do you think it was better than 4 out of 5? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and yeah, see ya.